Hi guys, Charlie with Boxing Focus, and Berto and Josesito Lopez. Sorry, I almost said Soto Karass because I was just catching some highlights of the Soto Karass Berto fight. You know, Berto's he's one of these fighters that he takes a lot of stick. He gets a lot of stick from the online community because he was well publicised, shall we say, on his way up. He was very flashy, hand speed, can look absolutely sensational at times, and then he kind of hit a ceiling in his career, and he's lost three of the last four, I think, or was it? No, sorry, three of the last five with his win over Chambers. The worst of which was the knockout loss to Soto Karass. But at the same time, I quite like Andre Berto. I really do. I mean, most of his fights are dramatic. When he does win, he tends to win spectacularly. When he loses, it tends to be pretty spectacular too. I mean, when I see that Andre Berto's fighting, it's a fight that I look forward to. So, in that regard, I've got quite a lot of time for Andre Berto, but he is a very, very frustrating fighter to watch. The guy is... he is all about offense. I mean, his idea of head movement is looking for different angles from which to throw his punches. His idea of footwork is moving himself closer to his opponent or perhaps slightly further away to find a better position from which to throw punches. His guard is getting his hands in position from which to throw punches. There's absolutely nothing that he does which is defensively responsible. And it gets him into a world of trouble all the time. I mean, the Soto Karass fight's a great example. The number of punches that Berto walks through in that fight, yeah, it's almost inevitable that he was going to get knocked out. And I know that he suffered an injury in that fight, and he fought very courageously through it, in my opinion at least, before he got knocked down. But even where he got knocked down, he has his right hand up. He has his right hand up. Now, this is mirrored, so... it might appear as though it's my left hand, but it's doing it with the right. He has his right hand up here, and he still gets nailed in the face with a hook. How the hell is that? I mean, it's almost physically impossible. But this is the thing about Andre Berto is he's got his right hand up in a kind of guard position, but he doesn't really have it. It's not in a guard. It's actually out here because he's looking for an angle to throw a bloody punch with it. It's everything he does is about offense, even when he's badly hurt. Yeah, even his, like I say, the head movement. I mean, he thinks he can dodge bullets. He thinks that when a fast punch comes in, he'll just slip out the way of it. So he absolutely does no defensive head movement. He is just simply just looking for different angles from which he can throw a fast shot. And it just gets him into trouble because he ends up getting nailed loads. I mean, even in his most recent victory over Chambers, he still wasn't moving his head. He was still getting hit hard. And I think it kind of exposes Virgil Hunter in a way. Virgil Hunter, supposedly this amazing trainer because of Andre Ward, who is an absolutely phenomenal fighter. But what Amir Khan and Andre Berto are doing under Virgil Hunter, Amir Khan's just learning how to kind of run away more from opponents and not get mired in a war. Technically, Berto and Khan have not improved under Virgil Hunter. I mean, Berto's defensive skills have not come on one bit in the Soto Karass fight. Virgil Hunter was in the corner. In the Chambers fight, it was just exactly the same old Berto. And maybe that's what Virgil Hunter does. He tries to improve their core strengths. But bloody hell, this is boxing. It's about not being hit as well as hitting. Yeah. It's just one of those things. But, Berto, when he is successful with his offence, like I say, it is incredible. And it's what got him to the top, because obviously, in a sport like boxing, it's all about levels. Physically, Berto was able to blow through the majority of his early opponents up until he starts getting to the point where the guys are physically almost as good as him, and technically when it comes to throwing punches at least almost as good as him, but defensively much better. Then all of a sudden he starts to struggle. Josesito Lopez, on the other hand, kind of has a different problem. He's much better technically than Berto, but he doesn't have all the physical advantages that Berto does. And as a consequence, he tends to struggle at the top level of the sport. So the question is, in this fight, is Josesito Lopez technically and physically strong enough to live with Berto's speed and power? And it's a bit of a difficult question to answer, if I'm honest. I'm not too comfortable giving a definitive answer on it. And because of that, I kind of have to go on instinct. And instinctively, I think that Berto's going to get past Lopez. I just think he's going to be a little bit too much with his speed. As defensively absent, as defensively irresponsible as Berto is, he's not a sitting duck like Victor Ortiz is. Victor Ortiz just stands right in front of his opponents with his chin in the air. Berto almost does that, but not quite. To the point that he's not quite. You can't just load up on a shot and hit Berto. You actually do have to throw it with a little bit of craft, shall we say. You do have to kind of set it up a bit, or really pour on the pressure, or be able to walk through a storm like Soto Karass did. Whereas Ortiz is just standing there with his chin in the air and his hands down. It's absolutely bananas the way that Victor Ortiz fights. So I don't think he's going to be there to just for Lopez to load up on like Victor Ortiz was. So if Berto's not going to be there, I think it's going to be a bit more of a puzzle for Lopez to solve, and he's going to probably struggle with it, because Berto does have this very, very flashy, fast hand speed, and he does hit pretty hard. He backs up the majority of his opponents. Saying that, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me for Lopez to hurt Berto in this fight. It really wouldn't, because it just seems to be the way that things go down in the Berto fight. He seems to get walked onto shots, because he's all about offense. And it'll be, I would imagine it'll be an entertaining fight. Again, that's just what Andre Berto gets involved in. So I'm actually quite looking forward to it. Gonna side with Berto, but again, it wouldn't surprise me if Lopez turned it on its head and hurt Berto badly enough to turn the fight around. We will see. In terms of whether there's going to be a stoppage in this fight, again, I mean, this is the thing about Andre Berto. With all these flashy punches, he doesn't seem to be particularly hot on finishing fighters off. You think how badly he had Ortiz hurt, but then he walks onto a shot. And he had Soto Karass down, but perhaps he was tired and his right arm was hurt, but he failed to take advantage of that. I think it was a body shot as well that put Soto Karass down, so Soto Karass would have been in a whole heap of trouble. But Berto just seems to lack a little bit of ring IQ. He just trades on his physicality and his speed. I would imagine that Lopez will have enough about him to get through it, even if he's losing. So I'm picking Berto by decision, and I don't think Lopez is powerful or dynamic enough to stop Berto, even if he manages to hurt him. So either way, I expect it to go the distance. This is Charlie with Boxing Focus. Let me know where you think this one's going to go.